Jewish charity says the number of anti-Semitic hate incidents in Scotland has doubled in the space of a year. The Community Security Trust says last year it received 68 reports, up from 34 in 2022.
It says across the UK as a whole, the number of incidents hit a record high of more than 4,000. Well, Sammy is chairman of Glasgow Friends of Israel. He and a group of volunteers run a stall in Buchanan Street here in Glasgow, where they advocate for peace and a two-state solution between Israelis and Palestinians. I asked him if he was surprised by the CST's findings.
To some extent, I've not been shocked or even surprised, because I've seen the increase in anti-Semitic incidents in Buchanan Street, where we have a peace advocacy stall, and with the current regular demonstrations and marches in the city centre, a lot of the people that go by our stall tend to be very abusive and quite loud. So if they've been difficult towards us, I can see why these statistics have come the way they have.
Yeah, and what kind of things have happened to you? You hold this stall regularly, and there are regular protests about the situation in the Middle East, and your stall, you actually try to educate people about a two-state solution, yes, about working towards peace for Palestinians as well as Israelis. It's a shame that a lot of people have reacted so badly to that. You'd have thought that anyone interested in the welfare of people in the Middle East, yes, would support your stall.
Well, when we started doing this almost 9 years ago, some people were very concerned about being on the street, because Glasgow had the reputation of being very pro-Palestinian and very anti-Israel. But we found that not to be the case. In fact, there's a huge amount of support that we get at the stall every Saturday. But since the start of the war, there has been a significant increase in the number of people that are walking past the stall, and they find it very difficult to see a balanced picture, and they feel you have to be on one side or the other, and if you're not on their side, you must be against them, and therefore they give us this level of abuse, which is mostly verbal abuse.
It does seem like there is this feeling that people feel they have to choose one side or the other, rather than having empathy with both Israelis and Palestinians. But with regard to Jewish people living in the UK, a lot of Jewish people find that there should be a line drawn between what's happening in the Middle East and the communities of Jewish people in the UK, that they're separate, that they should not be held responsible for the actions of the Israeli government thousands of miles away.
Firstly, I'd like to say that I'm incredibly sad and I feel great sorrow for all the innocent people that have been killed in Gaza, which include a large number of women and children who should have not been affected by this war. And I also feel extremely sad for the people that were killed in Israel on the 7th of October, where Hamas terrorists crossed the border and killed over 1,000 Israeli civilians. And war is a terrible thing, and people get killed on both sides, and it's tragic. But that does not mean that Jews in the UK or Jews all over the world are responsible for what is happening over there, and certainly not responsible for the policies of the government of Israel. I myself have criticised some of the policies that the current Israeli government has, but that has nothing to do with the fact that Jewish people feel an affinity towards the country and they support the country, but they're not responsible for what is happening over there, not for what the government is doing.
And I think it's really important for people to know this. I was really shocked when I heard earlier today the head of the CST, when he was talking about this new data, that there was a huge spike in reported anti-Semitic incidents in the first week after the October the 7th attacks, and that was before the Israeli government had really started their response at all. That was really shocking to hear.
7th of October is when the first incident happened, but Israel didn't take any action until the 27th of October. That's almost 3 weeks later. But during that period, there was a huge spike in anti-Semitic incidents all over the country, including in Scotland. And this was to some extent people already taking positions on what they think might happen because of what Hamas did on the 7th of October.